Now, Charlotte, North Carolina is just like Compton, fool. Yesterday, September 8th at 11:45 p.m., over 150 rounds shot into this house on Richard Rozzelle Drive in Charlotte, North Carolina, striking 3-year-old Isa Figueroa while he was sleeping. His sister Ford was also struck. She will be okay. Look at the weaponry these youngsters have. 150 rounds. Back in the 90s, it was only so many guns per hood. You just like, man, who got the strap? Now, these youngsters got 3 and 4 guns, extended clips, automatic weapons. The police think it's beef stemming from high schools. A lot of beefing and fighting inside these high schools. A lot of other houses were actually shot up in this community. They know it's related. It's only so long these fugitives have until they're caught. Idiots were probably just trying to spray the crib, shoot up the crib, and say, okay, we shot somebody's crib up. Now you've killed somebody. Now you're facing every one of y'all first-degree capital murder. Life. And it's 2 cars in this footage. You think they ain't about to trick on y'all? Soon as one of these cars is identified, 2 cars. Soon as one of them people caught, boom, they tricking on everybody. Soon as them detectives sit them in the room and say, oh boy, you facing life. You will never see the light of day again. They gonna be like, oh, okay, wait a minute, okay, now I know who did it. Bling, 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 bling. So the police are banding together and saying, hey man, you know something. Say something. This is where it happened at. This is Richard Rozzelle Drive in Charlotte, North Carolina. Middle class neighborhood. Very nice houses. I think that's the crib right there. It's either that one or that one. There was a reporter out here. They're saying, their police saying a shooting that killed 3-year-old tied to others involving students. This is one of the reporters
we were
that
able
was
to get
reporting
closer,
that day.
finally, to give you guys a better look at what we have been following since about 11:30 last night. That's when Charlotte-Mecklenburg investigators began getting those calls from several people about hearing those gunshots. And just to be clear, when they say those multiple cars fired into a seemingly targeted attack at this home here on Richard Rozzelle Drive, they say that the shooters shot almost 80 rounds into that one particular home, and that is not even counting the other shots that were fired into several other homes here in the area. So yes, it's a very, very tragic case we're covering this morning. We don't know the identity of the child right now, and that is out of respect for the family. And while Charlotte-Mecklenburg investigators continue trying to figure out exactly what happened, but this is yet another shoot.
All right, so yeah, this is the block right here. That reporter was out there reporting. Also, in Country Club Hills Middle School, teachers are concerned over staff shortages, fights among students. A lot of teachers with help in pre-existing conditions. 3 principals quit. You know, 1 principal quit, 2 assistant principals quit. So they're down 3 major head staffers and 16 other staffers. Classes face 30 plus people in each class, even during this pandemic. People, I bring you guys this story because schools are critical. It is important to get your kid in a very good school at early age. This will determine their education and their personality and behavior. You go to a very aggressive school where there's a lot of fighting. That's what you will end up doing when you get in high school and college, or even on those streets. Like I just showed you guys in North Carolina, those fights that start in these schools. This is actually middle school. But a lot of those fights that start in those high schools spill out into the streets. when the school is understaffed. Also, the school will also determine the property value of that community. What does that do? When your property value goes down, your community goes down. So now a house that's normally worth $150,000 is now only worth $70,000. Now people fleeing Inglewood, Austin, they like, whoa, wait a minute. Pew, headed there. Look how cheap those houses are. Here I come. Your school will determine that property value, your tax dollars, your census, federal money, federal funding, school rating. Because people look at, yo, okay, should I move to this community? Oh, look at that high school. Oh, look at that middle school. I'm not moving to this community because I don't want my kid going to that school. So the staff is trying to remain anonymous. They're saying it's fights. The assistant principal, one of them that's out, was actually hurt breaking up a fight. Look, I want to bring this, just tell you guys this. I think in these high schools and in middle schools, especially troubled high schools, I think there needs to be more men that can relate to the students and from that community in these schools. Once upon a time in junior high and high school, I was a knucklehead thinking all this BS was cool. Now that I'm older, I know if I was to be in a position in one of these schools, in a high school or junior high, I think I could make a huge difference in these high schools. These youngsters need guidance. So that's what's going on. They definitely need, they're saying that they haven't had a contract, I think, in 3 years, and that the each salary is under $40,000. So they're saying there's understaffing, overcrowding, and, you know, in the pandemic. That's a huge deal. I do these stories because that comes back to violence. That comes back to the violence that comes down. The shooting that you saw, that comes down. That comes back to that. I'm also bringing you guys a young man shot, and he ended up dying 4 days later. His name is Jamal Gibson. This happened September 3rd, 76 in Loomis, in Inglewood, south side Chicago. He ended up getting shot on September 3rd, ended up passing away 4 days later in Inglewood. I bring you these stories. Let me tell y'all something. People say, hey, when a police officer, something happens to a police officer, they spare no expense. Every one of them drop what they doing and they get to work. They stop what they doing. Every one of them drop everything and they don't rest until that killer is caught. No circumstances. They pull every resource known to man. And with 24 hours, why do they do this? Because they want to send a message. You mess with one of our powers, the ability to deliver a consequence. And when you let murders and unsolved crime go on in your community, your children, your elders will be the one that suffers and catch. The innocent will be the ones that catch that bullet. These youngsters don't know no better. A lot of them think I know. No, you don't. I remember when I was that age thinking, oh, I know what. No, I don't. And I didn't. And if I was to be, to even see myself, like, look here, dude, what are you doing? So, police send a message. No. Chinatown, send a message. When somebody gets shot in Chinatown, they shut it down. Look here, not again. Not here, you won't. You won't bring that here. I raised the point where my cousin community, they follow you around. And honestly, I'm not even mad at them for doing that. Because guess how many shootings they had in that community? 0. So am I mad at dude? I'm a little uncomfortable. I'm like, yo, dude. But at the end of the day, I'm like, you know, man, they'll write your license plate down. So if anything do happen, hey, guess what license plate was in my community? Oh, you'll be caught within hours. And everybody knows that. So you know, I don't go to that community trying to cause any crimes. It ain't happening. So that looked like a fairly good neighborhood out there in North Carolina. Why the crime? When people see us, they pack their bags and they leave. Can I blame them? No. I honestly can't blame them. Because if I had the money, I'm on the same thing. Like, see, this is what I don't want. Here it is. You spend all these tax dollars. I did a show the other day, and dude was like, man, look here. I don't pay all this tax dollars to live like this. Your children can't even sleep good without some knucklehead shooting up the block. They're trying to scare somebody, trying to look tough and say, ooh, I shot up a crib. They was probably just trying to shoot the crib up and not hit anybody and say, hey, yeah, we shot that crib up. But now, 3-0, they're going to spare no expense. I say about the cops, and I say about, because this is how we should be. In the news stories, and I was listening to the people of North Carolina. They were saying, hey man, it's our children. We got to watch parenting. It comes back to the home. It comes back to parenting. It comes back to the community. It's communities that got, I've done what? I told you guys I did more than 8 to 10, or 10 to 15 last month in Inglewood. And I'm going to do 10 to 15 again to this month. In the same community. Ask me how many neighborhood watches I heard about. 0. Ask me how many people setting up cameras. Nobody's coming to save us. And nobody should. If I'm outside looking in, I'd be like, wait, when y'all gonna do something? Sounds like y'all should be doing something. Matter of fact, even in one of the North Carolina news, they was interviewing somebody. They were saying, hey man, we march for police shootings and stuff like that. It's time for us to march for this. We need to march for this. Not only that, we need to put our foot down, go door to door, question to question, and bring those killers to justice. What message we need to send to the community is, if you do something here, you will go to jail. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you look like or who house you came from, what neighbor you are. You will go to jail. You shoot somebody, you carjack somebody, you kill somebody, you will go to jail. Now, we can relate to somebody hustling, selling drugs just to feed their family. We can relate to that. We know there's no business in our community. We spend 98% of our money outside our community. At the end of the day, we're like, okay. But man, carjacking, killing, got to put an end to it. And we got to send a clear message. Look here, man. You do this on my block, going to jail. Even to this day, I'm the same way. I'm like, look here, no, man, homie. Psst. You see that block? No, it ain't happening, man. I got a little girl. I got family. No. Here you won't. Take that to somebody else's community. It's what you ain't going to do. And we need to stand up for our communities. We know the youngsters. Anyway, appreciate everybody sending me stories. Appreciate everybody. Make sure you guys like, subscribe. Let me know what you think about this video. Peace.